Hello and welcome here at Ars Electronica Home Delivery. My name is Sandra, and in today's segment we are in the music department of our new exhibit here at Ars Electronica. It's called AI and Music, so artificial intelligence meets music. In this segment I'm going to show you one special exhibit we have at the very entrance of this area, and a very special one to me. It's a highlight here, and I will tell you a little bit of the story behind it. So we are not only interested in the history of music. We are not a museum for music history. We have some ancient artifacts recreated here as well, but that's not the part I want to show you today. Today I'm going to be talking about a young German artist called Moritz Geist. So we can say we're going to talk about the Ghost in the Machine, but in a slightly different way than the Police did years back. So what we're going to do is going to take a look at what he created, the music world he created, and which he also performs with regularly. So this young artist is a fan of techno music. He has been for a very long time, and that greatly influenced his work here as well. What he did was he took things he had at home, because he also happens to be an engineer, a robotics engineer. So he had some spools at home, some cylinders, some styrofoam, and of course household items like the glasses you see here in front of me. And now you will say, okay, but how does that make music? Well, as he has a degree in robotics engineering, he always noticed that there were some things that gave audio feedback. For example, when you plug a cord in or when there's feedback on a sound box. And he thought he could use this. He was fascinated by those sounds. And the normal instruments quickly bored him, so he came up with this idea to create the things he had at home and create something new with it. And of course, we've all tried when you, for example, tap a glass like this, it creates a sound, especially when it's full of something, in this case with water. And the more water there's in it, the more different the sound is and the more rich it is. And he used this as a basis for his first experiment. And also what he did was use modern technology to support his experiment. The structure you see here is 3D printed at home by Geist himself, and also, of course, designed by him to fit his purposes perfectly. So that's one part. The second part are those cylinders you see here, which will make a most interesting sound in a minute. I'm going to play it to you. And then we have the drum set, his spools he used to create the sounds necessary. Oops, just lost something. Okay, so what we're going to do now is going to listen to what he created, and then I'm going to tell you something more about it. Grand finale. So you can already hear he is a huge fan of techno, as I said before, and he also implemented this in his new musical style, in his new musical instruments. Yeah, it's a fun way to experience something new. Music has been around for centuries, for millennia, you can say, and he thought, okay, why not do it a little bit differently? That's also what his success story is basically made of. He's a very famous DJ nowadays and performance artist, especially in Germany, but he's getting international recognition, of course, as well. So if you type in his name in YouTube, you will find some of his videos, some of his performances. And I just started this one now for everyone to hear with the tablet, but of course you can also listen individually when you come here to his works of art. And I just want to briefly mention a second artist we have here in the music exhibit. It's an artist group called Maywa Denki. And now we're moving from Germany to Japan. And they're also quite famous already. They've been doing this a lot longer than Geist has. So they've been around since 1993. And they still do performances to this day. And they created also their own kinds of instruments. And one of them I want to show you. This one, maybe you've seen it before. It's called an automaton, and you can even buy them online. And I love them. I wanted one for Christmas. I didn't get one, maybe next year. But it looks like a musical note, and it's very interesting to play it. I'm going to do so in a minute. But they also wanted to create like a new kind of instruments. They're called nonsense instruments, which is kind of a weird name because they actually work, of course, but not in the way you would expect them to. So this is kind of like a flute, and you're going to see why. I have to turn it on. I thought I did. If it lets me. Of course, technological performance issues. I'm going to have a second one. That's why you always should bring a spare. This is actually my favorite one. I love the little keychain one. You can also buy them online. And if you want to, you can, of course, play with them as well, create your own melodies. And the fun part about this is it's not just one button you can press. When you open and close the mouth, you can change the sound. And it's a fun little plaything, and it shows you that music does not always have to be like a grand orchestra or the classical instruments. You can do something in it in your own way, so to say. And we also have a performance, of course, with those, but you have to come here and see this for yourself. Hopefully anytime soon, because this exhibit has a lot to show visually and also, of course, auditorially. So thank you very much for joining in today, and see you soon. Goodbye.